Fanspeak, where the plan runs deep. The team grind hard, don't eat, don't sleep. From best ball dreams to DFS streaks, they help you print money every single week. Fanspeak. No cap, no gimmicks, we breaking limits. NFL bets, yeah, we live this business. Meg and Steve, that OG vision. Draft room killers on a lifelong mission. More stress to the Sunday spread. Fanspeak's that voice that's inside your head. Best ball, DFS, NFL bets. They built it brick by brick, no regrets. Fanspeak. Fanspeak team, printing money since day one. Fanspeak, forever.
Welcome back to another episode of Talking Ball Steveospeak. We're doing a little bit more of a morning edition, East Coast time. It's 11 a.m. here. So I wanted to jump in, say hi, and we're going to get, I'm kind of on a time crunch, so we're going to get two drafts in. We got to start the first one right away. So we'll talk news and notes as we're doing the draft. You know, hit up any comments, but let's get the first one in because I'd love to try and get two drafts in this morning. So we're going to start the first one. I'm going to count it down here, and in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, enter. So some of the news and notes today is we got to trade the Jets and Titans, two teams up top. Jets trade edge Jeremy Johnson to the Titans for Tavon Sweat. So DN for DT. I think from a perspective, you know, this doesn't mean generally a lot for fantasy, but it definitely opens up the door, kind of ensures, I'd say, that the Jets are probably targeting Arvell Reese, the hybrid edge off-ball linebacker from Ohio State. So imagine that helps that decision a little bit. So that means we can maybe kind of lock down the first two picks. The Titans, you know, their edge need is slightly less. Do they still target an edge? Do they go somewhere else? They have a lot of needs. I could see them going wide receiver with their first round pick. But I also could see them going offensive line or defensive end, or they could do something a little bit more crazy and just take a best player available, like a safety Caleb Downs or running back Jeremiah Love, and then move on from like Pollard and Spears. So I think Titans are very much the wild card in the early part of the round one, but Jets probably are a bit more locked into what they're doing at this point. It's kind of how I'm reading that trade. Let me hit up chat, say hi to chat. We got Mike Rob. Morning, Steve Show. Yeah, absolutely. Hartman, GM. Good to see you, Hartman. Meg checking in. King QC. How's it going? We got WF and Warehouse in the morning saying good morning. Huham's checking in. Doing well. Still waiting on 3. So if anyone wants to do a big board stream now or draft, now's the time. I would love to squeeze in the second draft today. Definitely on a bit of a time crunch. We'll be back tonight with Meg on Sibling Showdown at 9 p.m. So still wanted to get my own stream in today and come back and do that later tonight. But yeah, today starts the on-field drills for the combine. You know, what we care about more is, you know, during the weekend, but yeah, the drills are started, and we're getting just more and more combine news come out. I saw Jerome Schultz had a report. You know, the other day we heard about the Tyson Badgett Bears getting calls on, but he also mentioned DJ Moore, and I think that's extremely live. And the other thing we're going to start getting today is the official combine measurements. Today is like edge and D linemen. So yeah, again, not as fantasy focused there. Happy to talk about anything involving the NFL if you want to, you know, if your favorite team, you're worried about that. But it's, are we still waiting on 2? Does this thing not, did I get the wrong one? So happy to talk about anything. What's the Jets call? Yeah, Bain 30 and 7/8 arms. That is very small for defensive linemen's arms. I do think that some teams, they'll probably hurt Bain a little bit. And that's why I do think they are probably locked into Arvell Reese at this time. would be my guess for the Jets. I mean, I'm sure they're willing to trade back because they have so many needs at this point, but I'm guessing they are very much in the Arvel Reese is their top player on their board after Mendoza. Still waiting on 2. So hopefully we can get this draft started soon. And ideally get another one in as well. Let me tweet this out again. And get into these drafts. And hopefully YouTube is working a little better. Hartman in our Discord mentioned that YouTube chat was not working for him. Meg mentioned that to me also. And then I heard some other people commenting as well. So I didn't know that all of yesterday. So hopefully that's not the issue today. But that was definitely frustrating yesterday with YouTube chat not being on point, because I was not seeing comments at the end. I was not getting any comments. So Hartman was saying they were getting deleted and just wasn't looking good. So apologize if anyone commented yesterday and I was not responding. Definitely was not my intention. That was Google. Still waiting on 1. Did everyone decide not to do a big board? This is definitely the longest I've waited for a big board. Wow. All right, let me refresh again, make sure it's not on my end. The other report on the heels of the Jets trade is Connor Hughes, Jets beat writer, said the Jets are open to trading more players. There's an offensive lineman here or there. They could trade defensive lineman. I'm assuming that's not Garrett Wilson. That would be a fun one if they were willing to move him, but I can't imagine that Garrett Wilson's on that list. While we're waiting, let me check my slow drafts. I got a dinger I still need to do. Might as well do that. Do need to start doing a couple of these on stream. It's starting to fill up. I need pitching. Ooh, this pitching got rough. I am more of a wait on pitchers type thing. I'm going to usually go 7 in most of my builds. Take a shot on Trevor Rogers. Actually, probably more Shane Baz. So we'll go there. So we are starting. So I got the notification. I got the second pick. Team QC's in 3rd. And I think that's all I recognize from chat. I mean, I recognize a few other names. So if anyone else is in here, feel free to stop in and say hi. Yeah, that took forever. I've not had that happen so far. Armin's saying, who's the biggest wild card for the combine? Like, who's the widest range of outcomes? Well, that's a good question. Give me a second to think on that. Guess folks trying to wait on the combine. To me, that actually seems weird because I actually think now is a great time to be drafting. All right. I never take Puka over Gibbs, but while I was getting ready earlier, I was in Chad Candle's stream, and he was talking about his percentages, the top couple guys, and while I looked at mine, and Puka was like 2%, because I generally take him fourth. And even then, I've taken, I think, JT once at 4, or maybe JSN. So I was like, you know what? I probably should. I'm not going to pull Puka up to 1, but I'll probably pull Puka, just be more open to him in this entire range of 2, 3, 4, 5. So that was my decision there. Back to the biggest wild card. So it's tough. I think a couple guys I would mention, Lemon and Tyson, who Heems and I talked about the other day. Lemon, the measurements are going to come out. So if he is 5'9" and 185 and not 5'11" and 195, that's going to matter more in terms of pigeonhole to the slot. He won't be running. He will do the on-field work. So it's like he could get a bit of a negative for if his measurements come in low. I think he's getting a big positive for his on-field Juro work. And then the other potential negative would have been his like 40 time and some of the other drills. I mean, he probably is going to do well in things like 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle if he does that. But I don't know if he's going to have explosive jumps or a good 40 time. So I don't think it's going to make a big impact. I mean, if he comes in like 5'9", that will definitely raise some eyebrows for taking a receiver, especially one who's not like electric fast, which I think pretty much everyone understands he's not, top 10, top 15. I don't think it's really going to change my opinion though, because I'm kind of expecting it. I'd be shocked if he's 5'11". I think he's probably 5'10", that's my guess. So in Tyson, it's more the medicals, and he's not working out, which I think is fine. Just no need to pull a hamstring here or something like that. Just do it once at your pro day when you can do everything and all that. So I'll say maybe the biggest wild card is Chris Brazell. He's 6'4", 210 receiver from Tennessee, seemingly has electric vertical speed, but Tennessee's offense doesn't do him any favors. I think he's more refined than Jalen Hyatt, and probably even a little bit more refined than Thornton. And they started to do a better job. And we saw this with Tillman. Like, Tillman actually ran some NFL routes. Hyatt just did not. Problem is Tillman can't stay healthy. But the thing with Chris Brazell is he needs the elite speed, like he does, because he's not like a complete X like a Boston or Surratt doesn't have the vertical game, but Surratt is definitely going to be much better in the red zone, much better like in the short and intermediate area. So Brazell needs to show that he can fly. So if he flies and puts up like a Brian Thomas number, go Derrick Henry, sub 4.4, then that should lock him into the top 50, could push him into the first round. Lower on Bucky, I think I probably will tweak that. I have more Walker than Jacobs, so I'll only take Jacobs. I think I'll move Bucky back up a little bit. I do worry about his touchdown upside, but just going back to Chris Brazell, and in terms of wide his outcomes, if he doesn't run fast, like if he runs, and also his jumps are going to be important as well, because it's the whole context. But if he runs like a 4.52, a 4.55, like Elijah Surratt can survive that. Other, bigger receivers can survive. Even Boston. If Boston ran a 4.5, I'd still be much more okay with him than Chris Brazell. So that could really slide him down the board. I'm saying, like me, I've done my research way before, just load up now, waiting on the results. Yeah, that's where I'm at. But I think the hype train is just going to be so real on some of these guys. And And just going back to the Chris Brazell point, it doesn't really change my evaluation. Like if he runs a bad time and has bad jumps, I'll ding him some, because I'm expecting him to be a plus athlete. But if he does that, I'm not going to suddenly be drafting him in the 16th round every single time. I might take him a few more spots just because I feel a little bit more safe what his eventual draft capital will be, but I'm not going to go overboard. Paul jumping in and asking GM, is there anything that you look for at the combine for quarterbacks? I mean, for this year, it's pretty rough, but at this point, it's very rare for a top end quarterback to compete at the combine, and that's fine. A lot of quarterbacks don't even run anymore at the combine, and that's okay. Even some with rushing upside, they'll just do a run at the pro day. I think, was it last year we had like 4 quarterbacks run or something? It was very low. So, I guess I just want to see the ball come out pretty well, relatively accurate. Like I'm not expecting perfect accuracy. These receivers, they've generally never played with before. I mean, obviously there's a few exceptions where like Ty Simpson will have Jeremy Bernard out there for a couple, though they might be in different groups. So I just want to see ideally some zip on the ball, but I don't always worry about the tracking, like who threw the fastest ball at the combine, because we get some crazy results from that sometimes that don't seem to line up with, basically anything. I'll take the little Cam Scatteroo fall here. Maybe it's a result of the report Giants Wire had Giants could be interested in Jeremiah Love. I doubt that. That's a team with a lot of needs. So would have loved McLaurin back, but didn't think I'd get both. So let me go with Carnell Tate here. So yeah, for me, I just want to see a little zip, and for the deep throws, it's not even about the deep throws being accurate. It's, do they get in the ballpark of the receiver? Like, I don't care if they're caught or not. I want to see them get in the ballpark of the receiver. And like you can see when a guy has a good deep arm. But more it's the sideline routes. I want to see them, not overthrown to the sideline, not underthrown. I also don't want to see them playing extra safe, just trying to quote unquote complete a pass. I don't know if I'd do what Tyler Shuck did last year, where he tried to like simulate pressure and stuff. That was a weird thing, but each their own. But just generally, I just want to see consistency and the ball come out pretty well, and not too many major mistakes, because these are drills that they work on. I understand it's different receivers, but they are absolutely all working on these drills, daily, if not multiple times a day. Yeah, same. I think they're much more likely to go Sonny Styles or Caleb Downs. And that is the issue in this draft class, is some of the best players, even if we're treating Arvell Reese as mostly edge, some of the best players are non-premium positions. And, it can make things a little bit more difficult. Like arguably the best, maybe second best offensive line is that Penn State offensive line guard. And I think he could go in the top 15. But, ideally you want tackles. And some of the tackles are more clearly, like, I feel really good about them at right tackle, not so good at left tackle. Some teams could have to make some interesting decisions on how they're viewing these guys. Do they want to do a position switch in terms of O-line? do we take the off-ball linebacker? There's a lot of good off-ball linebackers in this class. So even if you don't get one in the first, there's guys in the second and third, maybe into the fourth. Same with safety. As special as Caleb Downs is, there's a lot of good safeties in this class. So it's great for my commanders who need both of those positions, but only have, a first and a third right now. We will take DK Metcalf. And all right, I'll just take Romandre. This is something where, particularly post free agency, like right now, I'm taking a lot of Swift and Romandre, and I still will. But post free agency, I'll definitely be more open for some of these, backs and situations, even if they start moving up a little bit. But whether it's like Kamara and Connor, if they, and Pollard, if they kind of stick where they're at, or Aaron Jones, or, when some of these free agents sign. Like right now, Gainwell is a really tough one for me because, if he's back with the Steelers, I'm all aboard. But so many other situations, he could be just very limited, like a true, like total satellite back, just a better version of Justice Hill. Before Hill got injured last year. And that's the type of back who should go 160, 175. So that is a tougher case. Same with Rashard White. Rashard White's another one in the exact same ballpark. If he goes to a landing spot where, he could get some goal line work or maybe more of a split backfield, then I would take him even higher than he goes. But if he goes to pure satellite back territory, then I want him where he's at or lower. So saying at 0.430, I also expect after we get some of the free agent stuff, I would just naturally take more early and mid-round tight ends. Like right now, I'm taking the late-round tight ends is because I think they're some of the just clear smashes at value. I was in a slow earlier where I had Trevor Lawrence and I got Brenton Strange at like 144 or something like that. And it's like, that's just I think that's way too low. And not even like from an unstacked perspective, I think Brenton Strange is fantastic there. And, guys like Henry, guys like Andrews, guys like Kelsey, who naturally will rise when he signs, but, likely Njoku, Otten, all these, Goddard, all these tight ends who have a lot of uncertainty around them right now. Once they start getting landing spots, I think they'll move up. And because they're moving up, then they're closer to the Sam Laportas, the Tyler Warrens, etc. Tucker Kraft. So I'll just start taking those guys probably a little bit more as I'm guessing. But right now I'm just in such a late round tight end situation. Got Paulina checking in. Doing good. Speaking of, Laporta's on the board for me, or potentially. We will take, we'll take Michael Pittman. Ooh, wasn't expecting Stafford to get taken there. That hurt. That hurt a lot. Oh, man. Okay. We'll just take Purdy. I mean, look, you know me, anyone can do however they want it, but I just figure with me having Puka, and I know he picked up, Blake right there, so I get there, then becomes that connection, but I didn't expect that at all. I took Pittman there because I thought, oh, I could get Pittman and Stafford. Should have just got my guy. So that's on me. We got Best Ball on call checking in, number 10 like. Appreciate that. Anyone who's in here, please like this episode. We appreciate the support. If you're watching on YouTube, jump over, give a quick like, leave a comment. That helps out quite a bit. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We are on our way to 1,000. Hopefully be there soon. Yeah, I did wonder that. I think it could open them up a little bit more. I think they could still just double down on edge because, Dwayne Johnson hasn't exactly been a great guy, a great producer consistently. So I could see them just double down on edge, but I think it probably gives them a little bit more confidence to pivot away from that if need be. I like the move actually more because it's straight player for player trade. I like it more from the Titans perspective just because edges are more important. They already have Simmons in the middle. So and they still need to add more edge, whether it's in free agency or the draft. I could see them going either way, but Sweat just wasn't working out. I mean, both these guys are kind of reclamation projects, but I think there might be some more just upside and value there for a shot on Jermaine Johnson. His second year is looking at stats. His second year, he had 7.5 sacks, then got injured. His third year and his last year only had 3 sacks, but the Jets defense was just atrocious this past year. WF in warehousing W. Not sure what that means, or maybe just saying it was a win. Mike Rob, that's Steelers fan there, bad judgment people. Yeah, no, this is a good point by Huim Salah. Because it's 2022. So yeah, he was there when they drafted Jermaine. That was one of the things where if Breece Hall got to free agency, like the Titans don't need, I think they're fine at running back with Tony Pollard, but they have so much money, with the Salah connection, they could have said, okay, well, throw the bag at Breece, at Tony Pollard, get an upgrade or little net difference in price. Now I no longer see that, but yeah, no, the Jets connection there is real. I'm gonna do Jaden Higgins first. Could I go a quarterback like Shuck or Darnold? Yeah. Let's get some more wide receiver help. Since I took Puka but then waited. I think I'm going to keep going wide receiver here. Take Concepcion. He is one guy who I think could move up. I expect him to be pretty fast. I think there could be some buzz with him. So outside chance he's a 49er at the end of the round 1. So 1-4-6-0. To start, we'll need to catch up a quarterback, have a strong core at running back, and tight end will be a late round situation. I know I could add, I think this Titans are the biggest wild card in the early round one. Mike Bergonzi talks about best player available, and that can be a bit of a overblown comment. Everyone says that he's the best player on the board. I don't believe you, right? Like that can't be 32 GMs. It always lines up that the best player on their board is the guy they take. It's clearly somebody they feel confident with, but miraculously, a lot of times it's fitting a need. The Titans have a lot of needs. Now, Love would just, running back is low on the priority list. Excuse me. But Love is special talent. And, one of the best friends a young quarterback can have is a good running game, a great running game. So, I could see them investing in it for sure. But, they also, right now, for as much as I take Mari Dike and Alec Iomanner, I take them because they're values. Like, I'm not sold that these are, this is not AJ Brown, Corey Davis, with maybe the 1 year where they were good together. But I think there's a lot you could do at the wide receiver position. Lloyd Cushenberry just got cut. They have a whole guard. I don't see that really in the first round outside of a trade back. But, I know there's been talk before about moving JC Latham to guard. You could maybe take a tackle and move Latham to guard. They would have a better indication of how feasible that is. And as I said before, could they use an elite safety like Caleb Downs? 100%. Could they use another edge like David Bailey or Bain? 100%. So I think they're just wide open across the board what they could do. Yeah, I think running back, while surprised, they are on the short list. I think they're more on the short list than the Giants, for sure. Because the difference with the Giants is Tracy's under contract for 2 more years, Skydabu's under contract for 3 at exceedingly cheap rates, where Pollard, you could save money by cutting. You don't have to. And the other part of it is, I think essentially both Pollard and Spears, it's their last year. So under control right now. All right, we'll go Cam Ward. And we will go Jordan Mason. It's kind of between Mason or Juwan Johnson for me there. Yeah, that's the argument against. It's just, are they truly in the best player mantra? And it's the reason why I say they're more alive than the Giants, because it's the same argument with Giants, is the Giants have their running backs future set, where Tennessee does not. After next year, you're moving on from Pollard. You could re-sign him if he has another good year, but moving on from Pollard, and Spears is a free agent. So that would be kind of the one argument. But I truly don't see it, just because I think they have so many needs. I think they're very live for a receiver that they don't take one or grab one in free agency. Because it's high for a receiver, but receivers generally go high. And I just think it's the best thing to support your guy. You know, Cam Ward made this big investment, getting him, you know, a top end receiver. And, you know, I think Love, you know, whether you think Love is better, the same, or slightly behind Nash and Genty, we did see last year where obviously made no difference. I mean, there were a couple games where truly Genty was literally carrying the Raiders, and they still lost those games, like that Bears game. That it was a Denver game at the end of the year. Was that week 15 or week 16 when he had a monster game? So it's like, even in games where Genty is doing everything, being the most elite back there is, it still doesn't matter because your team's so bad. So wouldn't be my recommendation. And, you know, I think from as I see, Huim's mentioned Jets took Breece Hall early second round. But like you said, FK, it's a big difference. And I think that could be like, maybe they take Jadarian Price in the second round and get their young, long-term running back answer. We'll take Henry here. But yeah, Paulino, I think Carnell Tate makes the most sense, just because to me he's I prefer Jordan Tyson from an upside standpoint. Tate is the cleanest of prospects. Like, he is just, there's no concerns across the board for him. Let's get a stack here with DK. So I think he, and the other thing with Tate is he fits in any role. You want to play him X, you want to play him Z, you want to play him in the slot, he can do it all. Yeah, Bailey probably makes the most sense. I mean, you could make a case for like Caleb Downs, but I think Bailey makes the most sense. Yeah, and to Paulina's point, like Salah, they took Salah's, that was his first pick, I believe. No, actually, they were signed. Staff was there the year before. It was a mess. But yeah, the first rounder that year was Wilson. Yeah, I don't know if I think it all depends on free agency. If they go out and sign Wan'Dale to a bag, or I heard if the Colts like Alec Pierce go, there was a rumor that the Titans are very interested in Alec Pierce. But if those things don't happen, then I think wide receiver becomes real. And this is a situation where I think free agency will dictate a lot. And we saw this with the Patriots last year. Like, everyone knew the Patriots needed, weapons, a offensive line help, and a ton of defense. They spent their money on Diggs and defense. And they had a Morgan Moses along the offensive line. But so you just knew that kept them really live in the Will Campbell department. And that's the direction they went in. So I think it's kind of similar. Like, if the Titans go out there and they spend their money on the defensive side of the ball, some other position, like add a safety, add an edge, but they don't add a receiver, then I think they're very live for fourth overall pick. Huim says he's put Tate in his own tier at this point. It's still not there, but I do think Tate is very, very safe and has just, there's value there, especially for an early first round investment. Did I miss Steve taking Scadaboo? That you did. So I started Puka. and took Henry Jacobs and came back with Scadaboo and Carnell Tate. So coming up here, we need another quarterback, ideally another running back, another wide receiver, and 2 tight ends. So because this draft took a little long to fill, I don't think I'm going to be able to get a second one in just because I'm really pressed on time, but I will stay and talk a little bit to talk through some things. So feel free to fire out any questions, or we can talk about certain situations that are interesting. I'm going to take Brian Robinson, be done at running back. I think Brian Robinson is a strong 6th running back. There's plenty of places where he could land and have a usable role. And take Hawkinson. Gunnar Helm would be a stack, but Hawkinson, whether it's somehow back in Minnesota with a better quarterback, or somewhere else, it's just a higher level of upside. I think FK has talked about this. Others, former 1st-round pick, now a couple years removed from injury. His numbers last year were not, great, but it's also nobody's was. I mean, Justin Jefferson's numbers took a massive nosedive. So plenty of paths to me for Hawkinson to kind of reclaim his value, particularly this late. Like Hawkinson, pick 80, like he was last year. No way am I touching that. But because it would be such a tight window for him to get up to that level. But could he be tight end 14? Absolutely. Could Kamari DK catch 75, 90 balls this year? Yeah, I mean, if they don't sign Wandale, he could fill that Wandale role in Brian Dable's offense. He's gotten 140 targets. I know Dable wasn't there the full year, but he got 140 targets each of the last 2 years. I think that's obviously an extreme because Wandale's been in the league now for years, but I could see DK being heavily involved. And FK saying, yes, on the lower end of that, but love his spike potential, a la JMO, and also being a return guy. Yeah, and he does offer that. There could be a couple weeks where you just get an extra 6 points. Exactly. No, it 100% did. I might write an article or do a show about it, but it is just so telling when you do the splits of the 5 games with Wentz and the 12 games with McCarthy, Brosmer. It is so bad. Like Justin Jefferson would not have had 900 yards receiving. I mean, where would we be taking him? If he had 880 yards last year in 17 games, mind you, where would we be taking him right now? ADP seems fair to me. Was that on DK or Hawk? Index of suspicion, offense killer, JJ McCarthy, absolutely. I'm going to ask how much worse could McCarthy get, but then I don't want that answer. Yeah, it was bad. I mean, to me, it's sad when Max Brosmer was an undrafted rookie, barely played in camp because they had Sam Howe and everything. And then when he gets thrust in there as the third quarterback, he's not much different than J.J. McCarthy. That's not a good thing. Tight end. I'll just pull Pat Freiermuth. Maybe Kirk's back in Minnesota. I have Mason and maybe Hawkinson. He'd definitely have to reduce his contract, but even if not, I think Kirk is just a better option than these other quarterbacks right now. But it really did feel like a total team level 4 outcome for the Vikings. Oh yeah, it was. And I get the argument, they still won 9 games last year, but man, was it bad. It really shows their defense, and their defense really when Van Ginkel and a couple other guys came back from injury, they were so good down the stretch. ADP comment was DK, but applies to both. Yeah, no, I that's why I like DK. Is I feel in that range he's so safe. Like Williams and I have talked about, like a guy like Tesla who goes slightly later, and I think can have multiple usable weeks. But DK not only can have multiple usable weeks and pay off that ADP price, but he could end up being a 120 target guy, and just get peppered, and even when you don't even factor in any return touchdowns, I'd still imagine 4 to 6 touchdowns as is. So this guy, when we flip the cards over, could be worth pick 115, 120, 100 even. I don't really see DK being like a guy who's a top 20 receiver at the end of the year, top 15 receiver, but top 30, top 35, 40, absolutely. Mike Rob saying, you want that data? Me and Bruni have it all ready for you. Appreciate that. Max Broski. Brosmer got Quincy fired. I don't think it was just him, but didn't help. No, it was JJ McCarthy. That was just such a bad situation. Like when Brosmer only got. I mean, that Seattle game was horrendously bad. But on any quarterback, we've seen some of the best quarterbacks in the league melt against that Seattle defense. So that was very unfair for his first start. But all right, we are going to take a wide receiver here. Let's take in Antonio Williams. I think he could be a third rounder. I feel good enough with this room to just tack on someone, a rookie. That go for angle didn't work. Yeah. I really want to know how McCarthy pick came together, but not enough of that regime got cleared out yet. Yeah, I know afterwards we got the draft, the draft video of Kevin O'Connell being excited. What did you expect there to be a draft video that the team would release of him being pissed off and throwing things? No, of course not. I'm sure he wanted to make it work, and this happens every time. Like whether it's Anthony Richardson or JJ McCarthy or any the Trey Lance, Mac Jones. I mean, Justin Fields, all these first rounders who've struggled and failed And some may have second, like Mac Jones could be on his way to a second wind. But like the teams, even when we knew the 49ers were split on Mac Jones versus Trey Lance, it wasn't like Kyle Shanahan was out there sabotaging Trey Lance. Like, he wanted Trey Lance to work out. They gave a boatload of picks for him. They took him in, just the opportunity cost of a first-round pick. Like, if Kyle got Trey Lance to work out, he would have been, just totally fine. But to this point is them taking Brock Purdy in the 7th round the following year helped saved, some of their jobs, because otherwise they might have just stacked up too many losses. And so, yeah, it to me, the bigger thing ends up being that they, even after Darnold worked out and they had Daniel Jones in the building, Aaron Rodgers wanted to potentially sign there. At that point, Kevin O'Connell had seen a full offseason of JJ McCarthy and knew it's going to take some time. And if he's saying, if we want to win now, this is what we need to do, and you don't do it, then that's on, that is on the GM at that point. Ibrahim saying, I'm not a JJM believer, but that man hasn't even started 12 games in his 2 years, and part of them he was injured. No, though I will say, and this is also the Anthony Richardson thing, is who McCarthy played more in college than Richardson, but kind of a similar situation. Trey Lance is also in this department with injuries. Injuries are a factor, and same reason why the Falcons are potentially looking for a quarterback, because of Penix's injury history. Could I see, if you tell me 6 years from now we're talking about, JJ McCarthy's a good starting quarterback somewhere, sure, I could say the same thing with Anthony Richardson or any of these guys. Just because we've seen it enough now. Darnold being the most recent example, Daniel Jones. We could have had a Super Bowl, which would have absolutely been awful for Minnesota. If Daniel Jones doesn't get hurt, of Daniel Jones versus Sam Darnold, how wild would that have been? Measurement for the DLB starting to roll out. Arm length will be a big talking point again. Yeah, already for Ruben Bain, who Hames mentioned that under the 32-inch arms, not ideal. I still think it doesn't. Like, it's one of those things. There's exceptions to every rule. This is the Drew Brees thing where, short quarterback. He is the Hall of Fame exception. Then you have other exceptions who are okay. But this doesn't mean every short quarterback, you take. So you need to check other boxes. And even in Drew Brees' case, he was a second-round pick. Index of suspicion. Hate it when a player's season never feels like it. Pollard had 1,300 total yards last year, and it never felt like it. No, I agree. Like, Pollard is a tough one, because he's actually played well for the Titans these last 2 years. So yes, if they had been able to sign Breece Hall, or again, I'm less likely in the draft Jeremiah Love camp, but would those be upgrades? Absolutely. But it's not like you've gotten bad production from Pollard. He's been fine. The problem, and fantasy-wise, which you're pointing to, is Pollard had a lot of these, like, 50-yard games. 50 yards, no touchdowns, and, like, 2 catches. And 2 catches were for, like, 5 yards. So it's like, that's 6.5 points. It's unfortunate. But that's why I like Pollard a little this year, if he doesn't get any major competition, because there's just a lot of paths where he just adds a couple more touchdowns, adds, just 5 more yards in some of these games, 10 more yards. So those, 6-point games are, 9, 10-point games. Those, 10, 12-point games that he had are 15, 20-point games, etc. So I'm going to look over these teams. I'd be happy to hit up chat a little bit more, have a little bit more time, but definitely not enough for another draft. So feel free to jump in any questions or comments. But let me go over these two teams. My team first went with the standard build, 3-6-8-3. Brock Purdy, Cam Ward, Kirk Cousins. I do think Cousins is very likely to end up as a starter. Is it a guarantee? No, but I think he's very likely to end up as a starter somewhere. And then, of course, Purdy and Cam Ward. Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Cam Skadaboo, Ramondre Stevenson, Jordan Mason, Brian Robinson. Receivers, Puka Nacua, Carnell Tate, DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman Jr., Jaden Higgins, Casey Concepcion, Mary DK, and rounding out with another rookie in Antonio Williams. Tight ends, Hunter Henry, Hawkinson, Freiermuth. Hawkinson, we'll see where he's at, but for a late round tight end room, I think that's pretty solid. I think for me, the big thing is, did I make the right call taking Pittman over Stafford? Probably would not going to gotten Pittman back. So it's like Stafford versus naked Purdy is probably what it kind of ends up being as the decision for this team. Maybe I made the wrong call, but I want to use this as an example, like when that happens, and I don't even consider it game sniped. Guy can take whoever he took. I made the call. It's like I'm gonna pivot for the best possible outcome. Like I know so often we feel when we get sniped, the team is dead, etc. But way too often we see those teams still have potential to work out. Heaven help us if DK becomes Bobby Trees. Well, with Bobby Trees? Bobby Trees with the Titans? That would be bad. Bobby Trees with the Rams? Sign me up. Steve, you keep saying DK when your brain really means Io Manor. Yeah, I think Io Manor is fine for his ADP as well. I don't think and he can be far more worth than the 180, 190 you're getting him at. But I think DK is safer, especially with Brian Dable. Keon Coleman as well, great point. So the only reason I bring this up, I don't know, talked about this earlier. Did I miss a comment with Keon Coleman? I'm just curious if I'm having the same issues yesterday where YouTube, I was just not seeing all the comments. So if I didn't see any comments with Keon Coleman. So if there was, and the chat saw him, great. But I also want to highlight this as if I'm not responding to your comment, it's probably because I'm not seeing it. So I apologize for that. That's a YouTube issue. So I just want to mention that. FK saying, I'm hoping DK is more like Will Fuller, maybe only a handful of catches per week, but any of them could be a house call. Yeah, I mean, he's so electric. And I guess I kind of see he could take on a pretty decent share of the targets out of the slot. But he's got vertical ability and he's very electric. As we see with his return ability, when the ball is in his hands, he can make big plays. If JJM is plan A, plan B being Brosmer is bad planning, to your point. I mean, Jones and Darnold in the building. I mean, they did, when they traded away Sam Howell, they brought in Carson Wentz. And again, Carson Wentz was by far the best quarterback on that team. Huham saying Bane, I feel, kind of wins with 30 and 8, 70 in charms before the season. He measured under 29 inches. That would be really, really bad. Yeah, Breeze was such a good player. Draftniks don't know it all. Agree with that. I like going back to the well around Cam Ward. No, I do too. I think so many things went wrong last year. So many things can now go right. Chad Candles checking in. GM. Chad was streaming earlier. Always catch him with the morning streams. Index of suspicion. Young Bobby Trees with the Rams. Yeah, he was good. Especially when he got McVay. AFC Starling, young wide receiver ready for responsibility, Bobby Trees. You make a great point on players who get better on the back end after some growth. Coleman falls in the category. Okay. So I just want to make sure it wasn't a YouTube issue again. Yeah, I know the Bills, they said it was interesting. Brandon Bean, I think it was Brandon Bean, it was Joe Brady. One of them said, we want you want Keon Coleman to have as good of a offseason that he had last year, which that was the reports last year. Like, he's having this great offseason, he's adding more muscle, he looks leaner, stronger, etc. Everything sounded good, and then he went out and had that year. So I understand you want that same level in the offseason, but you need to translate to the season. I think the only person in here was Keaton QC, so I'm going to go over his team. 3593, Caleb, Stroud, Daniel Jones. Running backs, Jamar Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Jadarian Price, Tyler Algier, Emma Johnson. Love that 5 group of running backs. Nico leading the receivers. Luther Burden, Alec Pierce, Juwan Jennings, Jerry Jeudy, Troy Franklin, Trey Tucker, Jalen Knoll, and Jerry Bernard. Tight ends of Loveland, Helm, Otten. I like the structure and concept of this team. Tight end early, then 2 late, and both should be starters. Kind of like your core wide receivers, but only, even if we count Jennings in the top 100, which is obviously a stretch since it's 118. It's only like 3 in top 75, 4 in top 120. So you went with 9. So you threw volume added on top. I do like some of these values here. I mean, Franklin, Tucker, even Judy, all at value. Seems really nice. And then tacking on like Jerry Bernard is one of my favorites. So I like how this team came together. With the Caleb, Stroud, and Daniel Jones. Even if Daniel Jones doesn't, you miss some time, you're more than covered with Caleb and Stroud. So I will probably get out of here in a minute unless anyone has any other comments. Sorry I can't do another draft today. I will be on later tonight with Meg, 9 p.m. Sibling Showdown. So definitely check that out. So I appreciate everyone for your support. If you haven't gotten a chance, sorry for the quicker episode, but I'll be back tomorrow. It should be 1 o'clock, and we'll hopefully do a longer episode then. And hopefully we'll have even more combine news to react to. If you haven't, definitely sub. We're on our way to 1,000. Like this episode, leave a comment after, that helps as well. But thank you all for joining me, and we will see you later tonight when I'm back on with Meg for Sibling Showdown. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll talk to you later.